channel. My name is Peace Coach. If you're here for the very first time, I want to say you are most welcome. Remember to subscribe, share, and like. I appreciate so much your support. And as of today, I know I kept saying this, but as a new YouTuber, every milestone means a lot to you. We are over 2,000 subscribers. Thank you so much. It means the world to me. Anyway, in today's episode, I would like to talk about Squid Game. Squid Game has become Squid Game, Squid Game, Squid Game. Squid Game has exploded around the world. You can't log into your Facebook, Snapchat, TikTok, or any other platform without hearing about Squid Game. Squid Game in the news, on the radio, on the television, and all these things. Squid Game is basically everywhere. Personally, I think I watched Squid Game in the very first week when it was released, and I remember I had so many reactions, which I'm going to discuss here in this episode. And I went and posted on Facebook and asking people, has anybody else watched Squid Game? And at that point, I did not get so much reaction from people because I really wanted to just have an opinion, a discussion with people about what this Squid Game was, what this series was, and how it was going for them. But basically at that point, no, I didn't. So Squid Game is a Korean TV series that was released on September 17th of this year. And it is Netflix's most watched series with over 111 million people tuning in to watch it in over 94 countries. However, there was something very interesting about the viewership. I read somewhere where it says, for people to count among the 111 million people who tuned in for the viewership, if you tuned in and only watched just for 2 minutes, you automatically count among the 11 million, even if you never went on to watch the whole series later. And for those who didn't continue, I can also understand. I almost gave up also. So what is Squid Game about? For those who have watched, those who haven't watched, spoiler alert. And then also disclaimer, I am not good at pronouncing Korean names, so I'll only name the main character, and I hope I will try my best to do a good job of the pronunciation. So what is Squid Game about? Spoiler alert. If you haven't watched, you don't want to be spoiled, so step aside. So Squid Game, it explores a dystopian reality where a mysterious organization recruits people in debt to compete in a series of deadly childhood games with a chance to win a big chunk of money. Big chunk of money, you know. It's also about, this is how I looked at it, it's about the socio-economic divides in today's society, not only Korean society, in today's society, the exploitation of the poor by the rich, and the desperation of desperation of financially destitute class of people, especially people when you've lost your job, you're looking for a job you can't get, and all that, you know. And this desperation, this plight directly applies to Squid Game's main character, known as Song Gi-han. I'm sorry if I butcher that name, I'm trying. You know, sometimes it's very hard to pronounce names from other parts of the world, but out of respect, we must do our best and try to pronounce the names the best way that we can. So Song Gi-han we meet him, he is a divorced dad with a daughter who's living with his ex-wife, and his ex-wife goes on to get married and has a husband. So she's living with Gi-han's daughter over there. And Gi-han, he was working in an auto factory for so many years. But then when we meet him, he has lost his job, he has no money, and we see him stealing the little money from his mother. The little money his mother makes from the market stall, Gi-han was stealing that money, you know. And his situation is so desperate because he has no job, he's stealing from his mother, and then he has a very big problem of gambling And the gambling gets him also into trouble, because sometimes when people are so addicted, gambling, it's like drugs. Sometimes when you're so addicted, you want more, 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 more. You can never get enough of it. And so this pushes him into going out and trying to get debts from the money sharks. So when we meet him, the money sharks, the debitors are coming for him. We want our money, we need our money, and this and that and that. So Gihang's desperation makes him a prime target for a mysterious organization that offers him a chance to win a massive amount of money. Yes, I said a massive amount of money, and that is 38 million US dollars by playing a series of games with a group of a bunch of other people that has a deadly consequence. So yeah, so when we meet him later on, after being pursued by the money sharks, that you need to pay our debts and all that, he meets somebody at the train station who kind of plays some games with him, where they have to throw down a paper. If it turns the other way around, or if it turns the wrong way, he gets a slap, a slap, a slap, and with each of that he wins some money, amount of money. And then at the end of that meeting with that guy, he gives him a card. He said, if you would like to win some more money, call me. And so that ends up being this childhood game that Song Gehan ends up playing. However, this Squid Game, it was so interesting. In the beginning, when I started watching Squid Game, this was my honest reaction. It is very gory, it was very disgusting, it was very scary, there was a lot of bloodshed, a lot of death, you know. There were over 400 people that joined the game in the start, and over 200 people are killed in the first round of the game. That is the green light, red light, you know. When I started watching it, it was just too much. I didn't think I could stomach it. I didn't think I could watch until towards the end. But again, the game is made in a way that you are hooked. Once you start watching, you are hooked. You want to stop, you want to close your eyes, run away, scream and all that. But again, you were curious. You're like, okay, what next? What next comes? What next? You want to stop, what next? So that kept me hooked. It's also very well acted, you know. It's well acted. All the things kept me hooked until the very end. But also I remember in the very beginning, this movie is rated PG-16, you know. So children from below 16 are not allowed to watch it. But I can tell you, I am an adult, I'm 39 years old, but I found myself like a 5-year-old child watching this movie like this. And if anybody walked into the sitting room when I was watching this movie, I paused. Because the movie in the beginning felt so wrong. And I was like, oh my God. What if, does my mother know that I watch such kind of movies? Does my village pastor know that I'm watching such kind of movies? So it was like that kind of friction. Is this right? Should I be watching this movie? You know? So I had that battle within myself. But also I think that comes from my background. I've not always been a kind of person that watches movies all the time. I just developed this habit lately during the corona epidemic here, because we were so much at home. People were looking for so many different other things to do. That is when I started watching Netflix. We've always had Netflix, the kids watch and all that, but I've never been this kind of person who sits to watch movies. And also my choice of movies has always been the sweet romantic kind of movies and things. And then of course I enjoy crime documentary and all that, but Squid Game had taken me to out of my comfort zone. So I was basically like, oh my God, what is this? And my other reaction was, I was a little bit not mad, but I was a little bit sad that they took our childhood games. You remember when we were young, how we used to play and pull ropes, and we used to play the tag games and all those things. So taking my childhood innocence and then tinting it with all this bloodshed and death. you know. Then I was like, no, 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 not my childhood games, please stop, you know. And then the other thing also, I was a little bit disgusted, is like the portrayal of how the rich sometimes have very little regard for the lives of the poor, of the destitute, those who are desperate in society, in that these rich people decide to take their to kill their boredom by taking it to the next level. Yeah, taking it to the next level and playing God with the lives of thousands of people without any thread of accountability for their actions. You know, as we watch in the movie, there was no really accountability. Nobody held them responsible for all this death and put them behind bars and all that. But maybe, I'm just thinking, maybe there's going to be a second episode of this series, because the way it ended, I think we need more. Yeah, and then what lessons did I learn from this Squid Game? There's so many lessons to be learned from Squid Game, both moral lessons, financial lessons, you name it. So these are a few of the lessons that I learned. The get rich quick schemes can lead to a downfall. You know, when somebody comes to you and saying, oh, I have this and that thing we can work on, you'll make money very fast and all those things, when it's too good to be true, step aside. Think through it before you join. Actually, that reminded me of, before I came to Denmark, in Uganda, there were these triangle business schemes. There was Questness and there was AIM Global. People were convinced that when you join this organization or these business platforms, they have a way, they will make you'll be able to make a lot of money. You bring another person, you do this and that. And people spend so much time. I have friends who even travel across the country to Kenya, to Tanzania, you know, putting so much effort marketing this organization, and at the end of the day, they got nothing from it. A lot of time wasted, a lot of resources wasted, which if they had put into other things, for example, if somebody opened up their own business, or in farming, or taking up an education, or learning a skill, they would have been much better off, you know. So AIM Global is one of those business schemes, too good to be true. And the funny thing, after that, after they've taken so much money from people, they've exploited people, they always close down. And right now, you can't even hear about AIM Global anymore. And then the other thing I learned is live within your means. Yes, yes, this is a very important lesson. Live within your means. When we meet Gehan, he was actually making some money, you know, but because of his gambling problem, the money kept going out of the window. So no matter how much money you make, if you can't live within your means, you know, then you are in trouble. You're in trouble. There are people that I know that make very little money, but they live within their means and they are comfortable. And then I know people who make a lot of money. As soon as they get that money, it is a party. You'll even know when you see them that they have a lot of money. They are out buying this, doing this and that. Live within your means. And then the other thing also is pay off your debts as soon as possible. You know, if you get money, you have a debt, pay it off immediately. If you don't pay it off, like Gehan, instead of paying off, he's gambling the money again, and then he gets trouble with the money sharks, you know. And also, if you don't pay off your debts immediately, the interest rate increases, accumulates, you know, it gets out of hand. So learn how to pay off your debts as soon as possible. Diversify your source of income. And then the other thing is, life is not only about money. Trying to have a balance between making money and having time for your family. You know, that was a very eye-opening lesson. When we see Gehan, he leaves his mother at home. The mother was very sick. The daughter is with his ex-wife, and then he joins this game. He plays this game, he fights through it until the very end, and he wins this very large sum of amount of money, 38 million US dollars. Yes, guys, imagine if you won that, you know. He has all that money, he comes home, and guess what? He finds the mother has died, very lonely on the floor, you know. His daughter isn't there. So what is the use of all this money? Why did he put in so much effort for all this, you know? And because of that, when he comes back, he has all that money, ends up even not really spending it. He's very sad because now life has no meaning. The people you were working so hard for are not here anymore. So for me, what I learned from this, learn to have a balance between your family life and work life or making money. You know, try to balance. Be there for your family also, because people, life is short. We only have this life once. So let's try to make the best out of it. And then also the choices we make. The choices we make determine our future. You know. Yeah, it's like most of them, they made this choice out of desperation. They didn't think through the choice they were making to go and play this game, you know. And then suddenly when they reach there, they realize, ho, 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 ho. Yes, I want this money, but this money is going to cost me my life, you know. And I remember at some point, but through democracy, they vote and they decide that no, they didn't want to play this game anymore, because after the green light and blue light, and then people were shot, then they realized people are really dying for real, you know. So some of them, after the democratic vote, they were allowed to go, but once they go out, they find out that, oh, actually, life outside also is not really freedom. There's no freedom. It's not easy. The money sharks are coming after them. They are being chased left and right. Then they decide, you know what, we will go back and play this game, because at least inside, they are better off fighting for their life, even if it will cost their lives. Maybe there is a slim chance they might win some money. But overall, the choices sometimes we make will cost us our future. And we saw that most people ended up losing their lives during this Squid Game. And then also be careful who you trust. Yes. Ali was proof that Ali was proof that be careful the people that you trust, but also being nice will not always necessarily get you far in life. It's that way. That is human nature. You remember how he was betrayed by Gihang's childhood friend, who puts, excuse me, who puts a lot of stones in the bag, and he takes the marble but presents Ali with the stones. And then when Ali is trying to go out, then they ask him to see the contents of his bag, then it is only stones. Ali gets shot and he dies, you know. So being nice and being very trusting sometimes will not get you far in life. Learn to think and be analytical and critical and question things. Don't just take things the way they are. Think deeply. And then the other thing, don't let other people borrow your card, you know. Don't let other people borrow your card, and make sure on your ATM cards, put passwords that are very hard for people to crack. Because remember, we meet Gihang, he steals the mother's credit card, he goes and withdraws her money, and because of that, it messes up also her insurance. Insurance is also another lesson. Do not play around with your insurance, you know. So he steals money using the ATM card. It messes up her insurance payment. And then when she falls sick, she can't get treatment because she had stopped paying for her insurance. So that was a very big life lesson. And actually, it reminded me a few years ago in 2008, before I moved to Denmark. Just 2 weeks before I moved, the insurance on my car expired. And I remember going to the office and the insurance guy telling me, in 2 weeks, your insurance is expiring, why don't you pay it? And me, I was like, I'm moving, I'm leaving. Whoever will buy the car will pay the insurance. Guess what? 1 week before I left, I got an accident around Weogerere. You know that Weogerere Chireka road around Nambole Stadium. There was a truck coming from those ends of Ginger, wherever it is. I guess it was from Kenya. it rammed into my RAV4. And I was very pregnant. And that side where I was sitting, the door was all crushed. And you know what? Trouble. My insurance had expired. That was a big life lesson. But luckily, the truck company, they had an insurance policy, so it covered my car. But from there on, I learned a big lesson about paying for my insurance, you know. And then the other lesson was not all that glitters is gold, guys. Not all that glitters in gold. Many times in life, we are, excuse me. Many times in life, we think that all that glitters is gold, but it's not. Because when we meet Gihang's childhood friend, the one he ended up killing or having the last fight, actually, he didn't kill him. He killed himself, yeah. But it's the guy that he has the last fight with before he wins the money. So this guy, according to the mother would be praising him very proudly, talking to him, oh, he's well accomplished, oh, he's this and that, because he would also dress well and all those things, but he was also choking on debt, you know. So many times we admire people, you look at people, how they are living, but you don't know what they are going through to live the life they are living. You don't know what debts they are having to live the life that they have. So not all that glitters is gold. Lastly is, as we watched this movie, all of us were a little bit mad at the VIPs, you know. We look at the VIPs as horrible people. How could they do this, you know? How could they make such a game for just their entertainment? We meet them wearing these golden masks, sitting out there behind, especially watching the games. Especially it was this game where they have to walk over the glass. So there was a glass, and then there was the tempered glass that was weak, and we criticized them, we are disgusted by them. But guys, guess what? We are the VIPs too. Us who sit at home here enjoying this movie, we are not any different from the VIPs, because this is something very gruesome, horror-ish, whatever it is that we sit home and enjoy for also our entertainment. So guys, what was your reaction with Squid Games? What life lessons did you learn from Squid Games? Those were my reactions. Those were my lessons. I would like to hear what your lessons and reactions were. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for watching. Have a